What's going on, guys? Ghost for Delta X-Ray Studios. So, wasn't planning on making very many videos, but I'm meeting a lot of new people that don't know a whole lot about the game engine. I'm seeing a lot of misinformation being thrown around out there. The main purpose for me having this channel is to try to clean up some of the misinformation and try to show you guys like what either people are failing to show you or what they're refusing to show you because, kind of job security. So in this video, what I'm going to talk about is collisions. So the first thing that one of these new guys was talking to me about is he wanted to know how to create a UCX. I asked him, why do you want to create a UCX? And he said, well, because I need a custom collision. I was like, well, why do you need a custom collision? And he said, because if I try to use the complex collision doesn't work. Or if I do somehow get it to work, it's rendering a lot of poly count and it's really creating a performance impact on the game that I'm trying to create. So there's several ways you can go about collisions. One is a UCX. So basically it's U, C, and X, capital letters, underscore, SM, underscore, whatever the mesh name is, underscore, whatever variation, so 0, 1. So it'd be like UCX, underscore, SM, underscore, unicorn, underscore, variation would be 0, 1. And then whenever you import it into the game engine, you would want to make sure you deselect generate collisions because you're going to use the UCX. And I think he was doing his in Maya, but I think Maya and Blender are both done the same way for the Unreal. It's just make sure you get UCX underscore and whatever the mesh is. And you're going to need to duplicate that mesh as well. So that way you have the main mesh and then you have the other mesh that will have UCX in front of it. The other way to do this is just using the simple collision that Unreal gives you. Sometimes that works, depending, like if you're just making a simple wall, the simple collision works. If you're making a bridge, you can do a complex collision, or you can actually come over here into the windows in the collision and do like a box here. And so what you would do is you'd select the box, and for the railings, you would adjust adjust this, and you would hold Alt and bring this collision over, and then bring this one down, and you would rotate it like that. So if we were making like a bridge, it's not exact, and I don't know how well you guys can see all the green there, but anyway, that's how you can make another simple collision without using Unreal's simple collision. So you can just put boxes everywhere and box your shit in, depending on how you're doing it. If you're doing like maybe a wall with a door in it, or if you're doing like some type of bridge, there's workarounds with that. So UCX, you can use the simple collision that Unreal gives you. You can create your own simple collision, or you can use the complex collision. So one of the other things I want to clear up here is when you're using the collisions, some of the guys were being told that they have to select simple collision or they have to select complex collision in order for this to work. Guys, selecting either one of these two is not going to do anything. The only thing this is meant to do is to show you the dimensions, to show you like the geometry from the simple collision and the geometry from the complex collision. So I got this asset from Megascans. So right now at LOD, LOD 0, and I've already optimized this. So at LOD, I'm in auto. So let's go to LOD 0. We're rendering almost 21,000 triangles, and using a complex collision is going to render almost another 21,000. So just this one mesh alone inside your game would be 42,000 triangles. So yeah, complex collision is a little bit, it's kind of like an overkill. And look how much it covers. It's very precise. It has very good precision on the LOD, or for the collision. So there's a way we can actually change this. We can actually lower it. So what most people do, even if we have this optimized, if I go down to LOD 4, okay, so LOD 4 is at 311 triangles, but I'm still rendering almost 21,000 triangles just for the collision. So really, you're not really getting anywhere if you don't adjust the collision. So using a complex collision, we're going to come down here and we're going to go and find general settings, LOD 4 collision. So this is where we're going to adjust it. So right now, LOD 4 collision is 0. So we're using LOD 0's collision. Now, if I would turn this to LOD 2, you can see my collision's a lot less dense. Go back to 0, go to 2. 0, 2. So LOD 2. So I'm gonna go to LOD 4, and it's still pretty good. I mean, there's a few areas where it's kind of sticking out a little bit, But these parts right here might be so high up on so high up in the level that the player might not even hit it. And if you're worried about them clipping through and seeing through the mesh, then bring it down one. Go to LOD3. And this is like the most precision you can get without having too much precision and not enough precision, at least for this mesh. Not all meshes, just this mesh. But anyway, so using the LOD for collision 3, now what we have, if we go to LOD3, so 1, 2, and, well, I guess, no, because you'd have 0, 1, 2, 3. Let me see. Yeah, okay. So that would be this one. So the collision for this is rendering 2,600 triangles. So at LOD0, so basically 21,000. So you're looking at like 23,600. So 23,600 triangles. And the cool thing is once you start really kind of getting down, you see it starts, really, or maybe that's what it is. Yeah. So it's LOD3. My bad. So it's 1,300, not 23. So LOD3, that's what we're using because that looks a little bit more together. Yeah, because it'd be 0, 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, so this would be LOD3. So that is the collision we're rendering for LOD3. I don't think as you go back in the screen size, I don't think the collisions actually scale down. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I have not actually tested that, but this is the method that I use. If I use a complex collision, I'd never actually use the original collision. I always come down here and adjust the LOD for collision and render one of the LODs, and you can see it's a lot lower, so 1,300. So the bad thing is if I went down to like 4, so this is like the lowest LOD I can have, I still have 1,300 plus this, so really the highest poly that this is going to render is like 1,611 triangles is what this is going to render once this hits LOD4. But you can see like I've been doing this in the game that I'm working on, and I've seen a significant bounce back in frame rate by using this method. There's actually another method that most people don't know about, but it'll be for another video. But like how you have culling in your foliage, there's a way to do culling on static meshes as well. But that would be for another video. But I just want to kind of clear some of that up. So you can do UCX, simple collision that Unreal gives you. You can make your own simple collision, or you can use the complex collision. And like I said, you can come down here into the general settings, LOD for collision, and adjust. You never want to roll with just the first collision because that is going to it's going to basically take like the max like poly count almost for LOD0, which is almost 21,000. So if we kept it right here at all times, even though we go down to LOD4 and we're only rendering 311 triangles, we still have the collision rendering almost 21,000 triangles. So it's kind of like it's just not good. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Put the cookie down. It's not the tumor. I don't know. Fucking his voice is so overdone. Anyway, like I said, if you're going to use a complex collision, don't ever use the original collision. Go to the general settings, LOD for collision, and go to 3, and you can see that it's lowered down quite a bit more. And what I say that was like 1,300. So if you start doing this method on anything you have a complex collision like cliffs and rocks and stuff like that, as you start getting more and more meshes down to this, kind of pay attention to your frame rate, and you should see some type of a bounce back. If you don't know how to check your frame rate, the thing you can do here is actually this little this arrow right here. You can drop it down and go to FPS, and it will show you right there. If you're not for sure what is eating up your stuff, you can also, Control Shift and I think comma, and then it will pull this little thing up, and we'll come up here to the milliseconds here, and we'll just drop down scene, and you can see that. See, my post-processing is eating up 0.87, my base pass is eating up 0.6, and then 0.57 for shadow passes. So if you're not totally for sure what's eating up all your frame rate, like I said, Control Shift comma, and that's another way to pull this up and be able to see what's eating your frame up. So guys, that's it for this collision episode. I hope you guys found this entertaining and informational. So smash that like button like everyone else says, and I hope you subscribe and go fuck yourself.